Welcome to Pete and Hannah's Watchlist. I'm your host, Pete Mitchell. I'm here with my great co-host, Hannah.
Hello, people.
Hannah, we're here today for AFI Top 110 Year Revisited. But before we begin, let us tell the viewers and the listeners what they should do.
Could you pretty please leave a like and subscribe to our channel?
Subscribe.
Leave a comment down below your feedback on the show. Thoughts, feelings, questions, comments, queries, all that jazz. Comments below, please.
Hit the notification button and you'll get great content like this one, including What's Next, the show where we help you figure out what to watch next. We talked about F1 and we also talked about Megan 2.0. We liked it, not many people did, so it happens.
Is it Megan?
Yeah, both. Today we're doing AFI Top 110 Revisited. Tomorrow it's movie news. And Friday, good episode. We're ranking our top 5 movies so far in 2025. So great episode that will be. Let us get on to today's show, and it's AFI Top 110 Year Revisited, and it's movie number 21, and it's Chinatown. Oh, have we seen this before? I have, many times. Hannah?
No, never.
First time.
Yeah.
When did we watch it? We actually watched it on a 4K copy. So, but in the States, you can rent this on Amazon and Apple as well.
Yeah.
So there is options there. The elevator pitch. A private detective has been hired to expose an adulterer in the 30s in Los Angeles, finds himself caught up in a web of deceit, corruption, and murder.
Ooh,
Yeah. The research for this episode today has been helped greatly by the 4K version of Chinatown. They have great extras, including a commentary with David Fincher and Robert Towne. Also, Sam Wasson wrote a book about Chinatown and he did interviews on the 4K. I think there's also Blu-ray and DVD as well. There's also interviews with Roman Polanski, interviews with Robert Evans. So that is where we got the research for today's episode. This movie is directed by Roman Polanski. It was written by Robert Towne and it's produced by Robert Evans. Stars Jack Nicholson, Faye Dunaway, John Hillerman, Perry Lopez, Burt Young, and John Huston. Cinematography was John A. Alonso, but he wasn't the only guy that worked on the film. There was another guy as well. Edited by Sam Osteen. Music by Jerry Goldsmith. Production company was the Robert Evans Company, also Long Run Productions. It was distributed by Paramount, who Robert Evans was the chief. He was the chief honcho there at Paramount at the time. The release date for this movie was June 20, 1974. Just another banger pick from 1974. Running time was 131 minutes. And the budget was $6 million and it made roughly $29 million at the time. Okay, so this movie is a part of the great 1974. We've brought this up many times. We also did a championship belt holder recently about 1974.
Yeah.
Han, we've gone through the list of these movies before, but we're going to go through again. Murder on the Orient Express, The Longest Yard, Life and Times of Grizzly Adams, Airport 1975, Godfather Part 2, which we've already done on the AFI Top 100, Earthquake, Young Frankenstein, The Trial of Billy Jack, Towering Inferno, and Blazing Saddles. So 2 Mel Brooks movies in the top 4.
Yeah, of course.
Chinatown didn't make it in the top movies. Yeah, it didn't. Hen, let's go through Chinatown and how it was made. In 1971, Robert Evans was at the top of his game, right? And Robert Towne was sort of like a script doctor, and he helped on Godfather, and he helped on other Paramount movies. And Robert Evans, he wasn't like so creative and all that stuff like that, but he hired the best and he had a really good eye for talent and he knew Robert Towne could write a good screenplay. So he went to Robert Towne and say, can you write the screenplay for The Great Gatsby? Because they were going to make a Great Gatsby movie. End up making it with Sam Waterston and Robert Redford in the title roles. But Towne said, there's no way I can make a F. Scott Fitzgerald a novel any better. And Robert Towne goes to Robert Evans, I've got an idea for a book. I've got an idea for a movie. Can I have it? Can I have a go at this? He said, okay, I'll give you $25,000 to write the story. And that story ended up being Chinatown. Robert Town also wanted to direct the movie, but Evans said, no, you can't have this as your first picture. It's set in the 1930s. I've worked with Roman Polanski before with Rosemary's Baby. He's off the back of 2 dud pictures. He's looking for work. We're going to go hire Robert Polanski. Robert Town, when he was writing this in his mind, he had Jack Nicholson in his head when he was writing the script. Robert Polanski always wanted to work with Jack Nicholson, so that's how Jack Nicholson got the role. In Robert Town's head, he was always planning to make this a trilogy of detective,
like movies,
not Los Angeles movies. So this one's about water. The next one is about oil and land, and the last one was going to be about air. But the third one never got made. The second one did get made. We'll go into that a little bit later when we talk about what was written about this movie recently. Okay.
Trying to make the Avatar of crime movie.
So this movie is based on water, and one of the main characters, Hollis Mulleray, was inspired and loosely based on the Irish immigrant William Mulholland. According to Mulholland's granddaughter, Mulholland was the superintendent and chief engineer of the Los Angeles Water Department and Power. So she thought this movie was based on her grandfather, and he created the aqueduct in America, in Los Angeles, the water from Owens Valley to Los Angeles. He created that. He was considered to be the man that made Los Angeles possible, and so they named a lot of stuff after him. Mulholland Drive is named after Mulholland, and so this guy was sort of loosely based off him. The water disaster that they talk about in this movie, that something happened like that there, and they said Mulholland was a part of that as well. So all these things go into making this movie.
Like the one big name that kept popping up. Yeah, okay,
yeah. What did you do in Chinatown as little as possible is from a Hungarian vice cop who had worked in Los Angeles Chinatown, dealing with its confusion of dialects and gangs. The vice cop went on to say the police were better off in Chinatown doing nothing because you never know what they would tell you. And the cop went to help victims who were exploited. Polanski first learned of the script and reading it. When he first read it, he didn't have like an emotional attachment to this script, and he didn't want to say like, I don't really want this. This is just a job. And Polanski in the DVD extras, he said that really helped him because he didn't have an emotional attachment to it. So he went there clinical and went there and sort of, that's why the movie turned out really well. Sometimes when directors get so invested in it, they don't want any changes and all that.
They get obsessive.
He actually left production and left the editing to Osteen and also Robert Evans. Robert Evans oversaw editing, the composing of the music and all that. And Polanski said Evans did a great job. So things like that, it's really important. Now, why didn't Polanski want to work in LA? Well, it was because of the unaliving of his pregnant wife, Sharon Tate, which was...
Oh,
yeah. Now,
unfortunately.
Here's a good time to talk about Roman Polanski. Okay, so he came off Rosemary's Baby. He's not allowed in the US as well because he has been accused of statutory R-word.
Yes.
And so he is not, especially with the Me Too movement over the last 5 years.
Yeah, not a good guy.
And he is not a good guy at all, but he was still awarded like Best Director for The Pianist in like the early 2000s, the movie that Adrian Brody and winning for.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So principal photography took place on October 1973 to January 1974. William A. Fracken accepted the cinematography permission when Paramount agreed. He had worked with the studio on Robert Evans. But Robert Evans never consulted the decision and insisted that the offer be rescinded because he felt the pairing of Polanski and Fracken would just run roughshod over the whole production. So Evans got like a really experienced cinematographer, but it turned out he worked too slow and Polanski sacked him after 2 days. Yeah.
2 days.
2 days, and then he sacked him. So let's talk about some of the great people that worked on this movie. So you have Jack Nicholson, who played J. Gittes. You had Faye Dunaway, who played Evelyn Cross Mulray. John Huston, which we've had on the list as a director for Treasure of Sierra Madre, Maltese Falcon. Yep. He played Noah Cross. Perry Lopez played Lieutenant Lou Escobar. John Hillerman, who you might know him from Magnum P.I., he played Yus Hellebredt, the co-commissioner. You got Burt Young as Curly. So Burt Young we've had on the list for Rocky. Daryl Zenry played Hollis Mulray. Diane Ladd played Ida Sessions. And so you got a few different... Roman Polanski was also in this movie as well. And I'll point that out to you when we go through it as well.
Oh, that's fun.
Okay, so let's go. Jack Nicholson. We know him from One Flew Over's Cuckoo's Nest, who we've had on this list before. He's famous for The Departed, famous for As Good as It Gets, famous for The Joker.
Yeah, we've seen him on this list multiple times.
Yeah, Easy Rider, we've seen him in as well. I will say this about Jack Nicholson. Few Good Men, one of my favourite movies. He's probably one of my favourite actors, up there with Pacino as one of my favourite actors of all time. So he can do no wrong in my eyes. Faye Dunaway, which we've had twice on this list before. Network and Bonnie and Clyde. Famous for Mummy Dearest. Also Thomas Crown Affair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Faye Dunaway and Roman Polanski had a notorious on-set arguments, and there's a scene in this movie when we go through scene breakdown, or I'll break down, they had a really drag out a huge fight.
Oh.
The role originally for Evelyn was supposed to go to Ali McGraw, but ended up getting pulled from Ali McGraw because she divorced Robert Evans and started dating and ended up marrying Steve McQueen.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
so in the Kid Notorious, which is a documentary about Robert Evans' life, he goes into that detail. But Robert Evans is a notorious storyteller, and he was convicted for cocaine smuggling as well. So just
I mean,
every
like,
Robert Evans story you have to have with a grain of salt.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So John Huston, from the famous Houston family, he's got
The Houstons.
Yeah, he's got his father, his daughter, his son, all part of the Houston clan, and gives a great turn as an actor in this, but famous for being an amazing director, a writer as well.
Yeah.
Robert Towne. So we've talked about Robert Towne recently on a few of our episodes because he wrote Mission Impossible. He also wrote Days of Thunder, wrote The Firm, one of Hannah's favourites. He came off writing The Last Detail, which stars Jack Nicholson. It's a great Jack Nicholson performance, but got into it. He did this movie as well. He won an Oscar for this movie, so just an amazing career, Robert Towne.
Yeah.
We talked about Roman Polanski, but famous for Rosemary's Baby, famous for The Pianist. The Tenant was a huge movie as well for him. Still directing to this day, but he's working in overseas, not allowed to work in America.
Yeah, like...
there was...
We don't like...
him and Jack Nicholson were great friends, but they had some heated arguments as well, because Jack Nicholson always loved watching the LA Lakers, and so he had like a little TV in his... it's
very important for him to watch his basketball.
In his camper sort of trailer.
Yes.
And Polanski goes, "Oh, come on, I'll watch the Lakers too, because I love basketball." He went in there and smashed the TV and said, "Let's get to work." And then they had a drag-out fight.
No.
The first assistant director thought, "Oh, the movie's over.
It's done."
He turned up to a party and they were hanging out like they were best friends, and because they just got over it. That's
a nice thing.
Yeah.
But also, if that man is watching basketball, I'd never ever disturb him.
I know.
I'd never touch it.
So Jerry Goldsmith, great story about Jerry Goldsmith. With this movie, they did the test screening in Santa Barbara, and Roman Polanski invited a famous composer that he really wanted to work with but never got a chance to. and he watched the movie and said it's a great movie, but the score is terrible. And then Polanski goes, "Yeah, I agree." And Robert Evans says, "Okay, let's change it." And so he got Jerry Goldsmith to look at the movie. Jerry Goldsmith wrote a score for this movie in 9 days. 9 days.
Oh, those are the best.
Evans put it to the movie. Polanski goes, "They did such a great job." And Robert Towne said the movie would not have been successful without that score. And that's the trumpet, the single trumpet played. So Jerry Goldsmith's famous for LA Confidential. He did Hughes. He did heaps of movies. Jerry Goldsmith worked on movies like Star Trek and Congo and all those movies. So yeah, huge composer Jerry Goldsmith. The cinematographer John A. Alonso, who came in, he worked that fast style. The cinematographer that was replaced was Stanley Cortez, who was a fantastic cinematographer, but he just had classic style. Polanski wanted to work quick because there were a lot of outdoor showings.
Yeah.
So you got to get that really quick. So he's famous for The Magnificent Seven. He also did Star Trek movie, Vanishing Point, which is an amazing thriller. So yeah, John A. Alonso did a great job here with the commentary.
Yeah.
The Fincher and Robert Towne stated in the DVD documentary that the two scenes was shot by Cortez was the Orange Grove fight and the drive back to Los Angeles at sunset.
Oh.
So they're the two that Cortez did. And that one's in the DVD commentary.
It's cool.
So we talked about Robert Evans a couple of times, but he was a studio head for Godfather 1, Godfather Part 2. He produced this movie at the same time as running the studio. He also produced The Marathon Man. Produced movies like Popeye, which is a notorious failure. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Produced that as well. Sliver,
Brilliant.
great thriller trash movie. Reaction to this movie recently. Rotten Tomatoes 98, Letterboxd 4.3, IMDb 8.1. It's one of the most notorious movies on Letterboxd 4 list. It's just it's up there with one of the best movies of all time.
People's favorites, yeah.
The sequel to this movie is called The Two Jacks. It was released in 1990 with Jack Nicholson reprising his role, but he also stayed on for directing. Towne returned as screenwriter and was supposed to work on the movie with Nicholson, with Robert Evans, but they didn't really work on it. It was just Jack Nicholson, and it got away from him, really. The second part was about oil and land in the 1950s, and it came out in 1990, so it was a long time after the movie. It was a lot like Godfather Part 3, and it was a commercial and critical failure.
Yeah.
There was supposed to be a third movie, and it was called Gittes vs. Gittes, which was going to be a third. It's all about air, and it was going to be centered around Jake's divorce as well, but never happened.
Yeah. I think also the name is not very compelling.
Yeah.
I'm never going to see the movie.
In 2019, there was talk of a prequel series, which David Fincher was going to work on with Robert Towne attached to the project.
Ooh.
The series was expected to be the early career of Jake and the founding of his detective agency. In 2020, there was a talk of turning Sam Wassman's non-fiction book, The Big Goodbye, Chinatown in the Last Years of Hollywood, which Ben Affleck was going to write and direct, but the story's gone cold on that. So that was in August 2020.
Oh.
Every Thursday on the channel, we do a segment called Clickbait, where we give our hotties of hot takes. Last week, we ranked our top 3 racing movies.
Vroom.
Yeah, because of Formula 1. Hannah, your hottie hot take for Chinatown?
My hottie hot take is... I'm going to go with the fact that this is the best detective movie on this entire list.
Wow.
You could get rid of all of them and just keep this one, and I would be...
Better than Maltese Falcon?
Yep, 100%.
Wow.
100%.
Yeah.
1, it's higher. And 2,
That's true.
it is, objectively so. And it
is
comes
good.
down to the story and also our main character. I think what's really important with detective movies, and what's gotten lost over time, because we don't get many, big release detective movies.
That's true.
And if you get one, they're like a B-rated bad movie. Like the recent Liam Neeson Marlowe movie wasn't that great, which was supposed to be like a 1920s detective thing.
Yep, that's true.
But you get, this movie has a compelling main character who is wanting to get down to chase the big guy, not the people who may have done it. Honestly, he just wants the guy in charge of it all to take him down, because he's kind of going for the big kahunas. And then you have the fact that the story is so well paced that every time you're like you're thinking, oh, it's gonna go this way, a new clue is added, and you're starting to follow along. You follow along so well with Jake as a detective, because he's not dumb either. Like there's no obvious things he's forgetting.
No.
He is completely in charge of his investigation at all times.
Yep.
And it's compelling, and you're with you to the very end. And another thing with this movie is that I was so confused why it's called Chinatown. The movie does not take place in Chinatown. The ending does. And they bring up in the movie multiple times, kind of like, in Jake even says like how bad Chinatown is. Like it's not great. And you know, if things end up in Chinatown, it's like lost, because almost like you're not gonna win because it's corrupted.
That's what it is.
And so when you get to the ending, and I'm like, it all makes sense, because
it's such a great ending, and like Chinatown's a metaphor for life. You can't win.
You can't win, but also how detectives can't win. Like even when they try to get the big guy in charge, no one's gonna listen, because by the end, if it lands in the wrong hands, it's done.
There's a difference in as a detective, as in for justice, and as in knowing what actually happened. Because sometimes you can't get justice, but sometimes you can get knowing what happened.
Yeah, and I guess it's lost.
It's a great day for
and that's what I'm saying. You could get rid of all of them on this list for this one because it's so good. And then you can also just, no one has made, like in everything after it, like we barely have gotten detective movies. The only one I could probably put close would be Seven in detective wise.
Yeah.
But that's a little bit like...
Well, LA Confidential is sort of like a rip-off of this movie.
Yes, but that, again, it's a rip-off. It's not really...
It's an homage.
I'm not putting it... I'm not going to put it right there.
Well, I'll say LA Confidential does have Russell Crowe in it.
I knew you were going to say
And it also has Guy Pearce in it.
I knew.
Yeah.
But also, like, when's the last real good detective movie? The Batman? The Matt Reeves Batman? And at the end, it stops being a detective movie. So, we haven't really gotten one of these. And I think it also has to do with...
I think it was one of those genres that were used over and over and over again.
Yeah, but it has to do with also in TV, we get so much of it.
That's true, there's a lot of procedurals.
But the problem with procedurals is that they have to reuse and recite almost everything.
I will say
and you don't get something like this, which just...
It just
blends everything together so well.
Yeah.
Like the pacing and like the initial case to how it continues to grow and build. And yeah, it's really well done.
This is probably the best thriller of all time.
Best detective, best thriller movie of all time.
And there's no... That's my hot take. That was going to be my hot take.
Oh.
My
so sad.
No, my hot take.
Yeah,
my hot take is going to be this is the greatest thriller of all time.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's a better thriller.
Yeah.
I just don't see it.
You get to say it because you're the king of thriller.
Yeah,
trash.
like you know.
You love.
There is trashy bits to this movie, and
100%.
And it's so meaty.
Anytime you sleep with the woman that you're getting paid by, that's trash.
It is trash. You know, like it was worked well in Basic Instincts as well, which Jerry Goldsmith did the music for. So it just goes complete circle. It's like when we were watching Megan 2.0 last night, and she kept mentioning Steven Seagal movies, and
also how questionable Steven Seagal was.
Yeah, exactly. But I love how like movies draw from different movies, and so Megan 2.0 drew from Steven Seagal movies, which is nothing wrong with that. But so many movies that we've seen from the 70s onwards are just drawing from this movie.
Not just movies. There's like video games that have drawn from this. There are They're definitely.
I know Robert Town wrote Mission Impossible, but there's elements of Mission Impossible in this movie.
I was going to say The Firm, like.
Yeah, Firm.
I was like, yeah, when I was like.
Similar music too, like it's just, you know. So yeah, that's Hottie Hot Take.
I'm saying best detective movie. You're saying best thriller movie.
I reckon it's best thriller movie of all time.
Yeah.
Okay, Hen, let's go to Pete and Hannah's Watchlist's review. Let's start with scene breakdown. So the movie starts when we're in Jake's office. He's telling Curly his wife's cheating on him. Curly's played by Burt Young. Can I have a job? And then from there, Jake meets his new client who thinks her husband is cheating on him. So he takes the case, goes to see the husband who is working at
he's the
municipal. He's like the head of water.
The water. It's
water power.
Water and power, and he's like the chief engineer.
Yeah. So chief I love how like this movie sets up. It doesn't say 1937 movie. It
just get it from the vibe.
Well, it goes from a newspaper with Seabiscuits running in a race.
Yeah, just clues.
And so you know Seabiscuits are a 1930s horse, and so like
kind of just
it's
not
not
up the clues like you're the detective as well.
So I love how Polanski shoots from the perspective of Jake here. So everything is from Jake's perspective, right? And so you're the detective. Originally in the script, Robert Town's script, there was supposed to be a voiceover, and the voiceover was Jake. But they got rid of that.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because Polanski said, no, I want the audiences to figure it out the same time Jake is figuring it out. I don't want the double indemnity sort of overlay.
100%.
So that 100%. Is another thing the audience is figuring out the same time Jake is.
That's why it's like one of the best.
Yeah.
It's just great.
And you get the sheep letting into the movie. So there's the meeting. So there's a lot going on here. So you've got to pay attention to this movie. Yeah. It's so intricate.
But this meeting in particular that Jake watches is that you find out that there's a dam that they want to basically...
they want to create a dam.
They want to create a dam and an
aqueduct system.
And what the California people do not know is that it would actually be letting out water.
It would take the water and it would send it towards the valley.
Yeah. And the thing is, farmers and other people are upset because of how because there was a previous dam failure.
So there's a drought going on right now in LA.
They're struggling.
But we now know when Jake starts following the husband around, he sees that there's water getting let out into the ocean.
Yeah.
And so like, there's a drought going on. Why is this happening?
Because he's following the guy, like the husband who's cheating. And he's just going around different places, looking at,
He's got plans for water.
Yeah, like he's like not cheating. He's literally looking at water for like hours.
Yeah.
Like where water's supposed to go. It's crazy.
So end up, Jake follows him, and finally he's in a boat with a young girl, and takes photos of this. And somehow that photo ends up being published in the paper, and Jake's at a barbershop, and the barber's like sort of cutting Jake's beard and cutting his face.
A guy next to him.
Getting shaved. And the guy next to him says, how can you look at yourself in the mirror? Like that's
a 2-bit job.
That's a 2-bit job, and and then so Jake gets sort of into an argument with him because he's sticking up for his position. And then the barber starts telling a joke about
Chinatown.
Chinese man. Yeah. And so then Jake goes back to his office and starts telling the boys, and the boys are trying to tell him that someone's here, and it's Evelyn's behind him, Evelyn Munray, and Jake goes, oh, who are you? Like he completes the whole joke, and it's a highly racist joke. And
it's so inappropriate on so many levels.
And so then Evelyn Mulray goes, have we met before? And Jake goes, no, we haven't. And goes, well, therefore you weren't hired by me, and
I'm suing you. For using.
You can talk to my lawyer.
Yeah.
And so he goes to see Mulray to find out what's going on, and everyone keeps sort of giving him the.
Yeah, he's not here.
Yeah.
He's not here at the moment, so he manages to sneak into his office.
Yeah,
and
he's
look
looking for some information, like checking information, all this stuff like that. He sees a photo
of Evelyn. So that is his wife.
Yeah, that is his wife.
So he's like, okay, confirmation.
So then he goes to his house, and then he's looking for Hollis, and he can't find him. Evelyn's there, so they start chatting.
Yeah.
And sort of like there's like a little like intrigue sort of going on there.
As always with detective and
and so he ends up going out to where Hollis was looking at and finds that the cops are there and Hollis has been found dead.
The wife has also agreed to drop the case against suing him, which is really odd considering the fact that it was like less than a day ago you wanted to sue me.
Yeah.
So now finding the husband dead, it seems, obvious.
So Jake goes to a morgue and sees where Hollis is getting worked on. He's trying to find out information. There's all these other people that have been found dead.
Yeah, another like a homeless person that was also drowned, by the way, in a drought.
Yeah.
So there's some very odd things happening.
Then Jake goes back to his office and the police ask questions of Jake and also ask questions of Evelyn, who's there. And Jake ends up covering for Evelyn because the police are saying, did you hire Jake? And she says, yes, of course I hired Jake.
Yes, because it would seem suspicious if, she didn't. So he covers and she's like, I'll send the check to make sure it looks like I paid you.
So Jake is really intrigued now. He cannot let this go now. Like there's no, like, he goes to see the assistant again, Russ Ellerburton, and he sort of gives him the run around. He sees photos of Hollis and this guy called Cross. Who is
he found out,
he's like a millionaire, and so him and Hollis and Cross owned all the water in Los Angeles, and Hollis talked Cross into selling it back to LA, and they made heaps of money on it, right? Now,
because
so this intrigues Jake. So Jake is just like a bone. So all good detectives are like a bone and they won't let it go, even though like he's not on the case for anyone at the moment.
And
like,
he
no one's
it
hiding.
Very apparent. He just wants the guy paying whoever's paying who's ever on top. I just want the guy on top.
Yeah. So he's looking to take down the big things here, And so then Jake goes to investigate some more water, and then he gets shot at, and then the water's released, and so he gets out of the thing, and he's like struggling. These two guys come up. One guy he knows, and then the other guy goes, "You're nosy." And you know what happens to nosy people? They lose their nose, and then that's Roman Polanski that does that.
Oh.
So there's like a famous story of how they do that. There's a famous story of how they do that nose thing, and Jack Nicholson's been asked so many times about it, he refuses to tell that story because he's got laughed off it so many times. So it's just a knife trick.
Yeah. Anyway, he gets his nose cut. Horrible, by the way.
Yeah. So he's got like a full bandage. He's speaking to the guys thing, and they're like saying, "Let's let this go. Like we're not getting paid to this. Let's let this go." And he goes, "No, these guys need to pay." So Jake talks to Evelyn, and she knows that he knows that something going on, and she knows about it. There's something about a drought. They're releasing water in the ocean. She says, "Hey, you're on the case. I'm gonna get you to go on the case."
We'll have an actual contract here.
So there's a scene there where they're at a club, and so Jake's got his nose the way he is, and he often drinks. She says, "Can I have a Tom Collins with lime in it?" And there's a famous scene. This is where they had a really knockout, drag 'em out argument, Roman Polanski and Faye Dunaway.
Yeah. And
so the second assistant director, Howard Kosh, I think his name was, he tells the story on the DVD commentary. She had her hair sticking up, and so Roman Polanski goes, "Can you get that hair, Faye?" And then the hair pops up again. And so he goes, Susie, the hairdresser, goes there and sprays it. And then the hair pops up again. And then Roman goes, let's just pluck the hair out. So we're gonna, and then Faye goes, because he's Polish, negative terms for Polish people.
Okay.
You are not to touch me. You are never to touch me, right? And so he sits back down, and then after the spraying, the hair pops up. He gets up and just plucks the hair out of her head, and then it's just a full-on argument. Robert Evans had to call her agent and convince her to come back. So they came up with a thing to get around it where that little hairpiece with the little fascinated sort of look, they added that because the hair...
It also makes sense for the character because she's in mourning. So.
She's in mourning, yeah. So that's a really cool scene between Jack Nicholson and Faye Dunaway there.
Oh my god.
So Jack Nicholson ends up meeting Noah Cross, who's played by John Huston.
Yep.
It's funny because it's because Jack Nicholson just started dating Angelica Houston, and then Noah Cross, who's played by John Huston, says to Jake, "Are you sleeping with my daughter, who Evelyn's
in
Noah
real
Cross
life?"
story?" And it's sort of like the double entendre sort of stuff. So that just tickled me. So Jake's trying to say to Noah, "Mate, there's something dodgy going on here," and he goes, "Well, I think you need to find that girl because that has everything to do with Hollis's death. I'll pay you $10,000 if you find that girl." Jake goes, "How rich are you?" And he goes, "Yes, I'm mega wealthy."
Almost like...
And ask him, "How wealthy are you? 10 million?
It's crazy to be more invested in the girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this crime.
So...
that he was having a quote-unquote affair with.
Yeah. So Jake is makes claims against the deputy water guy. Jake has been hired by Evelyn for real. It's just really that scene between Cross and Jake, just fantastic. It is really good. So Jake finds out that people are buying up land in the valley, and all these different people. One of the people that has bought the land is actually dead.
Yeah.
Because Jake's pulled some names out of the paper because he remembered a name.
Yes, because that was information given to him by the woman that originally gave him the case.
Yeah.
She is secretly, and it's like,
sessions.
I cannot tell you, but I can tell you that they're in the obituary.
So then he goes to an orange grove, and then you get this scene where he's getting attacked at the orange grove, gets shot at, gets beaten up, and ends up, the person that hired him, Evelyn, comes and saves him. And so they drive to an old person's home, and then all the other people that are on the list that have bought land are all living in the old person's home. And none of them are rich. So all these people are just...
But they're connected.
They're connected.
Because apparently the club that donates money to them is actually Cross's club.
Of course, that's how it goes.
Fishing club.
That's it. It goes all the way back. The Abalone was something like that. Abalone Club was something like that.
Apicone.
Yeah.
It's a fish.
It's a fish.
Which you do also notice, fish is very important when you look at the guy at the Water and Power, the other guy. Yeah. He also had stuff in his office. Yeah. That also was
Russ Yellowcon.
Fish.
Yeah. Jonah Holman. So then Jake gets into a fight with the same guy that called him nosy.
Yeah.
And
the big guy.
Evelyn ends up picks up Jake, and they drive away. And then Evelyn and Jake sleep together, of course. But before Evelyn goes, she gets this call. It's a mysterious call. Jake.
And she says it has nothing to do with the case.
Nothing to do.
She says...
Jake, and then she goes, "Whatever you do, don't trust my father. Do not trust him.
Yeah.
Do not... You need to stay away, Jake. Just stay here. I'll come back and we'll pick up where we left off." So Jake follows Evelyn. Evelyn goes back. She's there with James Hong, famous James Hong, who Big Trouble in Little China. He's looking after the girl in the photo, and the girl in the photo, Jake goes, "What?
Who is she?"
Yeah. He goes to Evelyn in the car. Who is she?
She says, very nervously says, my sister.
Yeah.
But still senses that she's lying.
And then she goes, okay, Jake, let's go back to my house. Jake goes, no, I'm going back to bed.
Yeah.
And then so Jake goes to bed.
And he receives a call.
Receives a call and says, Ida Sessions wants to speak to you. So he goes to Ida Sessions and...
But it's actually,
He...
Ida Sessions is unfortunately...
Yeah.
Not there.
Ida Sessions is
not
unalive.
alive.
Yeah.
She's not alive.
And then the cops are there.
And that's who talked him into going.
100%.
And like his old buddy, detective.
Yeah, the lieutenant, Escobar, says that you know something about this. You're going to take us to Evelyn because she's right up in there and you're going to be charged with an accessory after the fact if you don't charge this. So he sort of takes him to this water thing and the water is not getting let out and they ring Russ and says, you know, Jake's making outlandish statements. So it's making Jake look like a fool.
Yeah, he looks like an idiot.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately that's the play.
Jake goes to see Evelyn at Evelyn's place and Evelyn's packed all the stuff up. He goes out to the fishing pond and he's been told by Escobar that there was salt water on the lungs of Hollis. And then, so at the place, the gardener said salt water always bad for grass. And he goes, and he finds glasses and he assumes that they're Hollis's glasses. And so he goes to Evelyn and says, you know this. Hollis died in that pond. He drowned in the salt water and then got...
She's almost like, what? That sounds crazy.
Yeah, that doesn't sound real. And then so he rings Escobar. He's going to come to the house because he doesn't want to lose his license. He's really struggling there. And then
he thinks that she's done it and that he's... Yeah, and 100%. It's over.
Yeah.
But, yes, gives the call to Escobar to show up to the...
Yeah, and
place.
then he says to Evelyn, you need to go to Hong's place and you need to get out of Los Angeles right now. Don't catch a train, don't catch a plane, just get out straight away.
But he did need to know the truth.
He did need to know the truth. And so the truth is that it's not
the girl that was with Hollis
not only
is her sister.
It's her daughter.
It's her daughter. She
had an affair with her father.
Well, yeah.
Intimated.
Very young, which
and
was
then
very
so
young.
she went to Mexico and
Hollis kind of raised, helped raise the child.
Yeah.
And then so she's been trying to look after her, and then she leaves because she's gonna go with but she looks at those glasses and she goes, they're not Hollis's glasses because he doesn't wear bifocals.
He wears bifocals.
He wears bifocals.
Yeah, and so then Jake knows who the glasses owned. So he
realizes,
Yeah, so but before that, he needs to get out of there.
He's realized,
so Escobar says, no, you're going to take me. So he takes him to this place and it ends up being Curly's place. And so he does a deal with Curly where he can forgive his debt, also get $75 if he drives Evelyn to Mexico. And he also has to drive him out of there. So he gets out of there, he evades the cops, goes to Evelyn's place, rings Cross and tells him to come. I know where the girl is.
Yeah, you know that.
He confronts Cross, and then Cross tells him that, he's brought up all the valley. He's going to make the valley a part of LA. He's going to be the richest man in Los Angeles because all the water is going to go out of the valley and
it's
make
about the future.
Yeah, it's about the future.
Because he was like, why do you have all the money, why do you need more?
He wants to own the future. He wants to be remembered.
The power.
And the funny thing is, he wasn't remembered. It was the other guy. So then we go, someone comes in with a gun. Cross says, you're going to take me to Evelyn. They go to Chinatown. Evelyn is taking the kid out. Cross confronts Evelyn. And Evelyn goes a gun, shoots Cross, but then drives away. And then the cops shoot Evelyn. Jake goes, "You idiots, what have you done?" Cross takes the girl away. Escobar goes, "Jake, get out of here. I'm doing you a favor." His associates go, "Jake, forget about it. It's Chinatown." And that's the end. That's one of the best last lines of the movie. It's one of the best last scenes. Like, you know how we've been saying a lot recently that movies don't know how to finish? This movie has a great ending. It just lands it. It just lands the plane.
It ends in Chinatown.
Yeah.
And the
but not only that, like just like, you know, bad guy doesn't get bad guy gets away with it. Sometimes the bad guy does get away with it.
And they were setting it up that the bad guy is gonna get away with it because they're like, as soon as he heard the address that she was gonna go to, he was like.
So the original ending, right? Done. The original ending Robert Town wrote was that a cross gets caught.
Oh.
Yeah, and Evelyn gets away, right?
That's nice.
But as Polanski goes, no, that is not the ending. Town and Polanski fought for years over that ending. Then in the DVD of commentary, he goes to David Fincher, "Yeah, Polanski was right."
Yeah, that ending.
Yep, the ending's perfect. Okay, Hen.
The other ending's cheesy.
Okay, Hen.
Been there. Done that.
Let's go to Reasons 2.
Reasons 2? Greatest detective, greatest villain movie of all time.
Yeah, great Jack Nicholson performance. Faye Dunaway
Jack Nicholson is so incredible.
Faye Dunaway is really good in this film.
She has a very iconic look in this movie.
Yeah.
Because she's got that 30s inspired eyebrows.
You know what that looks based on? Roman Polanski's mum.
Oh, that's...
Yep. Reasons not to see.
That's sinister.
This...
I dislike Roman Polanski.
Right, yep. Great. That's it. You don't need to say anything else.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
That's it. Like, because the movie itself, brilliant. But
Yep.
if you are, I'm dead set not watching a movie with anyone associated.
And a lot of people don't want to watch
that.
the F1 movie because of Brad Pitt's
Brad Pitt.
Totally fine with that.
Respect.
And if you don't want to watch this movie because of what Roman Polanski's done, respect. Yep.
We shouldn't throw hate at other people who do watch it.
Yep.
It's more so just I respect your choices for not. And 100%. I'm not going to force you to watch something you don't like because you've chosen.
Does this movie deserve to be on the list?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, we don't like that person, but the movie itself
and
everyone else involved in it, oh my god.
Does this movie deserve to be higher? You know what?
I could say yes.
I think it deserves to be top 10.
Yeah.
Like, it originally was 18.
Do you know what? When you were like, Godfather Part 2, I think I named it. I'd take that back. I would want to name this one. It's my favourite.
Man, this movie is so good.
This movie's incredible.
Yeah,
it's so well... The pacing of this movie.
Most
of these movies are not well paced. This one is so brilliantly done. Like it's.
I will say though, this has a great ending, but Godfather's ending is amazing.
Oh, but that's because it's Godfather or
Part 2.
Yeah, Part 2 has
a great ending.
Yes, but
his brother kills Fredo. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Would you buy it on Blu-ray? Yep, 100%. We've got a 4K version of this. Would you watch this movie again?
Yeah.
Mate, I would watch this movie at least once or twice a year. I love this movie. It's so good.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd watch this again.
Ranking. There's only one answer.
All-time classic.
It's an all-time classic. That is it for today's show. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Leave a comment down below your thoughts on Chinatown.
That's right.
Next week on the show, It's a Wonderful Life, and it's Hannah's turn to do scene breakdown. It's one of her favourite movies of all time. So Hannah will be in the driving seat next week.
It's the best Frank Capra.
So Hannah will
There's a reason it's above all the other ones.
Hannah will be in the driving seat next week for Jimmy Stewart, It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh my god, I love him.
We'll catch you for tomorrow for movie news. Don't forget, you can leave a comment or you can email us at peteandhannahswatchlist@gmail.com. That's my lovely co-host Hannah. Long live cinema. Until we meet again, it's bye for now.